If you're interested in applying or in the process of applying for a PhD program in another country, you might be familiar with something called inquiry letter. It is the first letter that you send out to your potential professor to try to build that initial connection with them. In this video, what I'd like to share are some of the responses that I got after sending out multiple inquiry letters to the professors that I would like to work with. So in the hope of give you an idea what kind of reply that you possibly would get and to have a better comprehension about what the implication of those letters. Hi, my name is Xiaowei and I'm a master's student with a psychology major. I'm currently located in Turkey because of my family, but I'm thinking to apply for a PhD program in another country, actually any country around the world who can provide quality education. I'm at the very beginning stage of my PhD application process. I just sent out my first application to one of the universities in Canada in the hope to be accepted by the professor that I dream to work with for my PhD program. I can see from now on it's a journey in the making, and I would like to document all my experiences and to share them with you in this channel because we all know it can get bumpy and stressful at any point. So if you consider yourself in need of this support, please like, subscribe, and leave comments below to let me know what kind of topics that you're interested in. So back to the topic. I wrote about 10 inquiry letters and I sent them out to multiple professors all over the world, including Canada, America, and European countries. I'm not quite sure for the European countries if it's a standard to send out inquiry letters. I did it anyway, and most of them replied to me with very specific answers. So I think this is also acceptable. So now let me show you the responses from the professors that I sent inquiry letters to. So this is the first reply that I received from the professor who I want to work with the most. So I spent quite a lot of time trying to craft the perfect inquiry letter, and I think it works quite well. So if you guys are interested, I can share how I wrote this letter as well in the next video. So she gave me very positive feedback. She said, "Dear Xiaowei, wonderful to hear from you. I'm glad to see that you have read our webpage, and it definitely seems like your research interests are a close correspondence to the work we're doing in the lab, both in terms of bilingual development and open science." So this is the part that she asked in her own webpage. She said, if you read this information means that you're really interested in our research, so you can mention that in the email, and I did. So she responded to that. And how wonderful that you are raising your own multilingual kids. The lab has recently received a grant to study trilingual development in infants, which is generally poor understood. So I mentioned very lightly in my previous email, I just mentioned that I have a family who the kids are speaking more than one language. So she also impressed by that, and she even mentioned she has the grant in place for this study, so which is like a super plus that I had never imagined. So she mentioned, I strongly encourage you to apply to our lab. The application deadline is December 1st, and typically she will review applicants after that. So strongly encourages the strongest encouragement within all the letters I received. Although other professors also wrote about, I encouraged to apply to our lab. So this is a very, it's a green light. Definitely, it's a positive sign that you should just go ahead and apply. And also, I think most of the letters, professors, if you write about your interest matching with theirs, they really value that, and they will also mention in their reply. That's actually kind of like one of their most important criteria to decide if they should accept you or not. And she also mentioned about the scholarship. So very nice supervisor, which I hope I can work with. So this is another very positive letter I received. He said, "Hi Xiaowei, thanks so much for reaching out. Yes, I will be accepting a new PhD student this year, and I will of course welcome a application from you. It does sound like we have common interests. So like I said, if you have a common interest with the professor, they really value that, and it will mention in the email that they are accepting you based on this very important criteria.
Also because I think the field that I try to work with is quite specific. It's bilingualism and infant. So maybe not a lot of people know about it. I don't know, maybe that's one of the reasons. So he said, I look forward to see your application and let me know if I can answer any questions about the application process. And thanks again. So incredibly polite professor. Also, I think from the letter that I think work with him being his student will be a really will be a good experience, I believe. Here's another one. These are the letters that's not accepting the students, but they talking about it in a very nice way. So Chen Xiaowei, thank you for your email and interest. I do not plan to accept doctoral students next year. I hope you will find another potential supervisor soon. So very polite, put together and simple, and they don't accept applicants, which is totally fine. So I appreciate her reply and hopefully to work with her in the future. I mentioned the reply. So here's another one, also similar. Thank you very much for your interest and for getting in touch. Unfortunately, I will only recruit one PhD student this time, and this person will work on the project for which high proficiency in Dutch is required. So I'm afraid I'm not able to help you. Best of luck with finding a suitable PhD position. I appreciate everything he said. Thanks for the reply. That's another one. Thank you for your message and your interest in our research. I'm afraid that at the current time, we do not have any PhD position available. If and when this become available, in the Netherlands, you have to apply for a position. So she actually giving those information saying that you have to go through this process. It's different from America. And she even gave me the link to find those vacancy on the university page. So even I'm rejected by all those professors, I don't feel any, rejection. They're all explaining about their situation, and so it's a good experience contact with those professors. So here are two emails that I received from one professor. It's a little bit different attitude, and the tone is also a bit different. So I want to share with you all as well. So she mentioned, actually, first of all, the context is that I sent her email and she didn't reply, not as all the previous professor, which they all reply within 2 days. She didn't reply, and I sent out another one after 3 days. I didn't receive any message. I tried to confirm if she received or not. And then after 2 days, she replied and she said, "Hi, Xiaowei. I'm sorry, but I don't have any openings at the moment and don't expect any in the near future." Finish. When I read it, I was like, did I irritate her? Did I do something? I don't know, but I feel like I follow the standard procedure because based on my previous experience. But here I already feel a little bit switching of the tone. I went along, just sent her another email because I need some stimulus from her study, because her study is kind of like really important foundation for my master thesis. And she says she is with her colleague. And I said that I already tried to reach out to the colleague, but she didn't reply anything. And I tried to call her, she didn't reply. So could you help me on this matter? I just request her in the previous email. And I got this reply from her. "Hi, Xiaowei. Sorry, I cannot help you. To be honest, I think your timeline is too tight. Many colleagues are very, very busy. So I think you need to postpone things or drop the task." I mentioned to her in the previous email, I said, I wish I would not have to drop this task because it's so important for my study design. But she speak very straightforward here. You might want to drop the task. So, I mean, and tone of the whole email, it's very educational. She's trying to teach me how you should approach the professor. And I think it's her personal style. I personally don't really appreciate that personal style. I think even, you have certain way of communicating with students, you have certain ways expecting students to communicate with you. It doesn't mean that everybody gets that at the first place. You can explain in a way to people that they would not feel like they being blamed for the ignorance. So yeah, I think there's a better way. And also personally, I wouldn't choose this professor because I can see her personality in those reply letters as well. So I will suggest everybody who's in the process of applying for a professor to be a supervisor, really check out the working style, the personality, the very individual characteristics, if they're fitting with you, because there are really a lot of different types of people that you can work with, and you want to work with the person who really match with your style. Otherwise, it's going to be a stressful and unpredictable process, which I don't appreciate too much.
This is the end of this video. If you're interested, please like, subscribe, and leave comments below. Please let me know what kind of topic that you're interested in, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.